Hey, my name's Easy Smith, the WordPress Rockstar. Today we're going to be covering on-page anchor link navigation in Elementor. Let's get started. So first things first, we're going to go over here. I've created a blank page in Elementor. This is going to be kind of our sandbox page, and this is built on my sandbox site. So there's really nothing here yet. It's kind of just a blank install of Elementor Pro, which is all we really need to get through this tutorial. So first things first, I've created a page called Test Page. I've clicked on Edit with Elementor, so we're in the Elementor interface now. For this tutorial, I'm going to go over here, toggle Hide Title, and I'm going to switch the page layout to Elementor Canvas, just so we have a nice, wide, full screen canvas to work with. I'm going to update this, and then we'll really get started. So this website is still using the traditional sections. It's not been updated to the Flexbox containers. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to create my first section. I'm going to do some basic styling here. I'm going to add a background color from a color palette that already exists on the site here. And then I'm going to add a column and just drop some basic content in here, really just as a placeholder. So I'm going to call this the About section. Excuse my typo. And then I'm going to drop in a text editor. I'm going to go over here to lipsum.com, which I use to generate lorem ipsum placeholder text. And I've generated a few paragraphs. I'm just going to grab a copy of those, a few of those, drop those in here. Change this to my neutral color. And I'll drop an image in here. And I'm not really focused too much on the design of this. Just doing some basic styling so it looks decent. But that's not really what this tutorial is about. So now we've got a full width section on the page that we're calling the About section. So I'm going to duplicate this a couple of times. Maybe call this one the Services section. Maybe call this one let's call it the Extra section. I'm going to change a background color here just so there's a little bit of break between these sections. All right, that looks good. Now here's the important part for the on-page anchor link navigation. Each one is going to have a unique ID that's set per section. So we'll select this, go to Advanced, and we'll come down here to the CSS ID field. If you hover over this, you'll notice the tooltip tells you to enter the ID without the pound key or pound symbol. So I'm going to name this one About section. This is case sensitive, so take note of how you type it for later. I'm going to go down to the next one, and I'm going to call this one, you guessed it, the Services section. And last but not least, I'm going to name this one the Extra section. So it's pretty straightforward. I'm going to update this, and then we can dive into the actual nav bar. So because this is a canvas, there's no header, no kind of global nav being loaded. I'm just going to create this as an on-page section for this. So we're going to add a nav menu. I'm going to click update here. And I have created a menu. I believe it's still blank. So what I'm going to do is jump over here to the WordPress dashboard, and then we'll go into the menu editor where we'll be able to add our links with the ID anchors. So that menu was actually not created. I think Elementor had this kind of stuck in cache from when I'd created right before I started this tutorial. But anyway, we're going to create this menu, and then we're going to come down to custom links. Now this is where it's important to remember the exact IDs that you used. So I'm going to copy this as an example, and the other ones I'll just type out because I remember. So we're going to come down to custom links, and in the URL, this is important, we're going to use the pound key now, and then we're going to put in that CSS ID that we used on the section, and then we'll use our link text as the label, and we'll click add to menu. And now we will repeat this. I'm just going to type them because I remember, for the additional 2 sections. So we'll get these added, we'll click save. I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to refresh to make sure Elementor loads the actual menus that are available. Because this was the only menu on the site, it kind of defaulted here in the editor, but I selected it here. We'll click update. And now what we're going to do is go over and actually view this page on the front end. So I'm just going to view it in a new tab. And voila, by default there you see that About is highlighted, and that's because the About section is visible in the viewport of the page. So Elementor has scroll to and viewport by default. So when you have ID'd sections like this and your nav menu matches up with it, by default it gives you scroll to anchor links, as well as highlighting as if you're on the current page based on what section is visible in the viewport. Now, obviously, we weren't able to see all of these because this header was not sticky. So let's jump back over to Elementor. We'll select this section, go over to Advanced, go down to Motion Effects, and we will enable sticky here to top. By default, there's no background color, so we're going to go over to Style, select a background color of white, and then update this, and we'll be able to see it in full working order now. So if we go back here and refresh, you'll be able to see that this is highlighted. And as we scroll down the page, when Services section comes into view, it automatically highlights this section because this is visible in the viewport, and it matches, the anchor link matches the ID of this section. As we continue to scroll down, you will see Extra highlight the same. You can also click on these as scroll to anchor links to jump within the page to the relevant section. So it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. This works great for on-page navigation or like a single-page website design. Anyway, I hope this tutorial has been helpful. Again, my name is Easy Smith, the WordPress Rockstar. That's it. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe below for more WordPress and Elementor tutorials. Thanks.